What is it, YouTube? It's another day, another session, and of course, it's time for another Harpie deck profile. So, I kind of hit a rut, and with really no new support, and still trying to wait for things to pan out. I just kind of just built whatever I could on my mind, and he's kind of just running with it at this point. Is it a good thing? No. But is it a bad thing? No. And I'll explain a little more why once we get deeper into it. But let's just go ahead. Let's go through the deck profile because I think that's really what you guys are here for. So starting off are my monsters. I'm running 3 copies of Harpie Perfumer. Then 3 copies of Harpie Channeler. 3 copies of Harpie Lady 1. 2 copies of Harpie Pet Dragon for some fire. Harpie Lady Sisters, Harpie Oracle, Harpie Dancer, Harpie Harpist, 2 copies of Tempest, the Dragon Ruler of Storms, and then 3 copies of the Ash Blossom Enjoy Spring. So that's it for my monsters. Okay. It is literally 0 room for me right now. I do not understand why. Hold on 1 second. We're gonna just move everything out of the way. Alright. And then let's just up this a bit. There we go. Alright. Spells. Triple Sign. Triple Ego. Then Duster. Rest. Hunting Ground. And then Summon Storms. Alright. That's it for the spells. For the traps. Triple Imperm. Triple Storm, double Party, and 1 Harpie Lady Elegance. And that's pretty much it. That's all my main deck cards. There's a total of 40. Alright, and then going into the extra deck with 2 copies of Harpie Cyber Slash Harpie Lady, a copy of Harpie Conductor, Winnie, Havis Vulgar, SP Little Knight, IP Masquerina, Unicorn, Access Code Talker, Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon, Chidori, Zero Fine, Arsenal Falcon, Typhoon, and Zeus. And that's literally it. That is literally everything in that. Alright, let's talk about it. Let's go through the pieces. So, we're gonna start off with the monsters. It's real simple, real quick. Harpie Perfumer to search for ourselves and trash stuff, specifically those Harpie Lady Sisters in its text. From your deck to your hand. If a spell like trap, if you control level 5 or higher Harpie monster, you can then add an additional card from your deck to your hand that is different from the one that you searched for. It's basically just, she's here to help you search for your cards. She's here to grab Ego as soon as possible, and you can combo off of that. But if you have level 5 or higher, then you're able to even get an additional card which can help out the strategy and thin out the deck as well. This is just a really useful monster. The biggest useful monster in the archetype still is, of course, Harpie Channeler. Being able to discard 1 Harpie card from your hand and then special summon a Harpie monster from your deck in defense position. Not only that, but if you control a dragon, she'll change her level from 4 to 7, so that opens up your rank 7 plays. And then following that is just the ultimate abilities that Harpie Channeler has. Having access to getting Perfumer onto the board, Dancer, Harpist, discarding Harpist, playing around with various setups and abilities, just to basically go into a lot more powerful monsters that can clear boards, get rid of things, help substantial combos, and really just keep the deck itself going. Harpie Lady 1, who I'm choosing to use over Cyber Harpie because she just gives the additional attack power and just an additional run through against your opponent's monsters. The next one up is Harpie's Pet Dragon for some fire. Double FB is basically the extender that Harpie's Pet Dragon initially thought it was, but just couldn't be. It's great to drop this monster when you have your Harpie Channeler on the board. You can discard the game, go get Perfumer, and then now trigger her ability. Dragon, when something filled to the grave, can send a winged beast from your deck into the grave, so that triggers Harpist and her ability at the end phase. Then I'm running the one copy of Harpie Lady Sisters because even without the retrain, we still kind of need a viable monster to help us with a lot of extensions. I know some decks don't run Sisters, but mine does because I do want to have this monster as soon as possible, or at least have access to her so that I can get additional abilities going off. Harpie Oracle, who can such summon herself if you control a level 5 or higher winged beast Harpie monster is on the field, and then she can, on the end phase of the turn she is summoned, add a spell attract that specifically lists Harpie Lady Sisters in the text from your graveyard to your hand. So, an inverse Perfumer is escalated to the end phase, but is able to special summon herself to give extensions for the deck and the combos needed. Harpie Dancer, just to bounce things back from the field to the hand to give you additional normal summon of a wind monster that turns. You can play around with those. Harpie Harpist, to search out for our Harpies. Then, Tempest, the Dragon Ruler of Storms. I know many of you are probably screaming, you're gonna run Tempest. Yeah. Garuda is an option. Sophie is one as well. But here's the thing. I need extenders, and I need viable extenders as well. That's why I don't really harp on Garuda and Sophie, because they still have utility in the deck. The thing about Harpies is that you're going to have to sacrifice a Harpie or a wind monster to then play around with Garuda, Tempest, and Sophie because of their abilities to where you have to banish those wind monsters. You can even just discard off of Tempest to go get Pet Dragon in case you already have a board that's set up or the cards necessary on the field to play around with, and then utilize Tempest like that. And I think it's literally just because of Double FB being an actual monster, which can be very possible. So, yeah. So, it's an idea. You don't have to use it, but most of the time I just come up with these things off the top of my head. And Ash Blossom enjoys screening as just an easier target for one of my hand traps. There are many you can use. You can use Phallos, you can use Droll and Lockbird. The list goes on. It's just, this is what I preferentially have. I do own the Phallos, I just own the third one. Next up are my spells. I have Hysteric Sign, of course, to either grab Elegant Egotist from the deck or graveyard into my hand so that I can extend my combo pieces, or I can pop it or send it from my hand, or I can send it from my hand or field to the graveyard, and then be able, do an effect to then be able to search out for my other cards, which have Harpie in their name, and they are different from each other, which is great because it really just keeps a long portion of things together. So I honestly do enjoy playing Sign. I just wish it wasn't relegated to its effect being once per turn and only once that turn. Because, yes, both effects are broken, but the abilities are just unfortunately overshadowed by their hard once per turn. But damn, do you have so many targets you can use with this card's effects, and easily getting this card from the hand or field to the grave. Elegant Egotist is next, and that allows me to such summon my Harpie Lady Sisters or my Harpie Lady to the board, being able to swarm the field with such an OG card. Harpie's Feather Duster to blow out the back row, as well as Harpie's Hunting Ground to help out with that as well. Hunting Ground does it more on a single target, so things that would protect massive removal, like Duster, won't be an issue. An additional 200 attack points is not bad. It's just that, of course, if a Harpie, Our Lady, or Sisters is normal or special summon, the Conductor has to destroy a fellow trap. 9 out of 10, you're going to have to destroy your Hunting Ground, because it's probably going to be the only thing on the board if there is nothing else. From there is Harpie's Feather Rest, just to help you recycle your Harpie Ladies back into the deck, and then be able to draw cards. While you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, you're then able to add to draw 2 instead of 1. So that can help. You are locked into wind summons, but you still have a good handful of them to play around with. Just unfortunately, one is missing because Konami TCG finds ways to use it. Summon Storm is just here as another catalyst for extra summons and extra setups, and that's primarily what it's here to do. I'm going to go ahead and go into the trap cards because I still have, the room too. Infinity Impermeous is basically Effect Veiler in trap form. You can play this card from your hand without, while you have nothing on the field, so that really can disrupt some things, and it's still a relatively good card to use in a deck like this, where you don't have to run Effect Veiler. You just need something to help you trample over things and be able to stop things as soon as possible. Speaking of which, Harpie's Feather Storm, which a lot of people was hoping get hit on the Forbidden Limited list, and it did not. Do I think this thing would have to? Do I think this card itself single-handedly would have to have a limited status like Feather Duster just to keep things at bay? It's possible, but the thing about it is that I told people I'll trade 2 of these just to get some more back. If that means I get to play some more, right? Konami TCG saying otherwise. Outside of that, really good trap card. You can play it from your hand if you control a Harpie monster. It'll only activate its abilities when you have a Winged Beast, which is to that at the end of the turn, negate the activation of opponent's monster effects. And it's still relatively good even to this day, even despite the fact that its competitive scene play really hasn't seen much. It's still a relatively good card. Hysteric Party, discard a Harpie. Discard a Harpie from your hand, system with your Harpie ladies from the graveyard to the field. Sorry, battlefield, and going to different and multiple plays. I threw in the one Harpie Lady Elegance just as another target to search for with Perfumer Oracle's ability. I really don't have too many things to say about this card because it's a very rare chance when I use it to bounce the Harpie Lady Sisters back into my hand, and shuffle them back into the deck, and then special summon 3 Harpie monsters. Tends to be its own hassle, but it's still something because you can pop it through and search for your own. Your own Harpie cards and add them to your hand. So still something viable to it. Alright, that is it for all of the spells and traps. My deck total in the main is 40. And then just going into the extra deck, I have the 2 copies of Cyber Slash to help me bounce cards back from the field to the hand. Really just a giant beat stick, and so accessible with all the multiple ways of getting at least 2 Harpies on the field, which probably makes it one of the most unique generic summons you could possibly do, because, well, with the Harpie archetype, it's not that hard to put 2 Harpies onto the field and synchro into this, which, by the way, you can do, and one of the Harpies treats herself as a tuner. Harpie Conductor at 1, I feel there isn't a need for multiples of her at this current time. Conductor is really just here to redirect things so that other things can be destroyed and be alright. So, there's one of those there. Winning just to mess around with Joel and Lockbird. Half Vulgar because there is no some more Bird of Sovereignty. Still kind of really sucks. I really want to find some different targets to put into the deck to play around with. SP Little Knight is not bad. I like this monster in terms of just the utility that she gives. Same thing with IP Masquerena and going into a Link monster as soon as possible, which of course is Nightmare Unicorn in most cases, so you can bounce things on the board. The Access Code Talker comes in clutch for the winning game, just to help you knock things out. Toolbox for the Harpie engine with the Exceeds. Phantasmal Dragon to poke for the 2K and protect your Harpies. Chidori to remove set cards, and then to remove face-up annoyances. Energy Zero Fine to negate every card on your opponent's side of the field, and then become a beat stick by gaining 300 attack for each one. For every card that's on the board in general. So stack up a lot of cards before you summon Ice V Zero Fine, then trigger her ability, and then just swing like crazy. Graveyard their Arsenal Falcon to help you bring out more Winged Beasts from the deck to the field. And then these 2 dynamic duos just to play around things as well. So that is pretty much it, you guys, for my Harpie deck profile. I am very tired. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to upload this to the channel itself, so that it is already there. I appreciate you guys for not only staying around and supporting the channel, but just, you know, being interested in the channel in general. I do appreciate it, you guys, and like I said, I apologize for the yawning. Look, I'm very tired. I'm ready to go to bed and just, you know, enjoy some sleep. So I hope you guys do the same. With that said, thanks everyone for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, as it helps out tremendously. You can hit the notification bell to be informed of when I do upload more content to the channel. Socials are in the description box below. And with that said, everyone for watching, it's HBJ signing out. Take care.